privilege at this time to introduce a woman who started her own small contracting business in her garage 20 years ago. And today she has 2 companies in the local area that employ over 150 people in a busy construction season. She ran for the legislature 8 years ago, and she was frustrated by all the government red tape, taxes, and fees hurting her small business and others in her community. She won awards from the Oregon Taxpayers Association for being a champion of taxpayers in her effort to create the budget transparency website and improve auditing of state programs. She has tirelessly fought for the rights of gun owners and for the common sense immigration reform, and to improve the integrity of our election system. A woman that we can be proud of to call our state senator. Please help me welcome Representative Kim Thatcher.
Thank you. State Senator, so you know something I don't? Anyway, I want to thank the organizers of the event today. You did, but that's okay, but you introduced me as representative, so, you know, I guess maybe you know I'm running. Anyway, I want to thank the organizers of today's event. It's not very often that we get to celebrate such a momentous event. I mean, 100 years, that's pretty much a landmark event in my book. I want to start today with a quote that applies to many of the women leaders of our state, and I know it fits me quite often at the Capitol. And you may have heard this one. And you may even see bumper stickers occasionally. It says, "Well-behaved women seldom make history." It's from a Harvard University professor who specialized in American history. Her name is Laurel Thatcher Ulrich, and we are both from Idaho. That's the only relation I can come up with. But I do think that we need to, as women, make a few waves, maybe a little bit more than the men sometimes, to make a difference in the political arena. And I know many of the issues that I do work on, a few of them were mentioned, do generate controversy, whether it's immigration reform or gun owners' rights, which to me is the ultimate in feminine protection. Gun owners' rights, get it? Oh, anyway. But I would not be here today being able to work on these issues, and many, had not all these women come together and come forward and braved the, talk about swimming against the stream and push so hard for the right to vote, and I'm very grateful for them. The Oregonian newspaper put out a candidate survey this year, and one of the questions was, who is your political role model? And I thought it was important to mention, as was just mentioned in the previous speech, Abigail Scott Duniway, because she was the driving force behind the women's suffrage movement here in Oregon, and she faced many personal challenges along the way. Some of them were mentioned. She came over on the Oregon Trail from the Midwest. She grew up to be a teacher and a small business owner of herself. So I identify with her a little bit in that arena, and it isn't easy, and I can't imagine what it would have been like for her, especially back in that day. And I'm thankful for the sacrifices that many of those women have made in the past to enable me to do what I can do now, and I do appreciate that. Yes, I did run for office a few years ago, just thinking I just needed to add more to my plate. But I'll tell you, the whole experience can be frustrating at times, but it is also very rewarding, and that is, I guess, what keeps me going. And sometimes I get asked about whether the legislature is like an old boys club, good old boys club. And I think it can seem that way sometimes, but I don't think it really is about men versus women when it comes down to it. I think we care about the same issues. We want to make sure our kids are educated. We want to make sure we have safe streets, and that our neighborhoods are safe, and that the vulnerable are taken care of with a safety net. If they're they don't have the family supports that have traditionally been around over time, and those have been eroded, and it's unfortunate. But many of the issues discussed by men and women are similar to those you would hear between men and women at the Capitol. And I do believe that overall, even though we don't have a good old boys network necessarily, we do need more women at the Capitol. And I'm grateful that we have, well, Gail Whitsitt is now going to be in the Oregon House. We have Betsy Close now, and who knows, let's hope that we have some good women added to our slate tomorrow as people turn out to vote.
I'm looking for a job.
Yes, okay, all right. Good, we've got applicants rolling in right now, it's great. Okay, I think with the, even with all these women, we have about 27%. Women make up about 27% of the legislative body versus, what, about 50% of the voting population. So that's interesting. But like I said, I don't think it comes down to men versus women. But one of my favorite quotes is from a famous woman, another gal. I just like the Thatchers, I don't know why. But Margaret Thatcher, the former Prime Minister of Britain, she said, in politics, if you want anything said, ask a man. And if you want anything done, ask a woman. I'm not sure that's always true, but I do think it's a fun quote, and I like to think that we women are the doers in society. I think that as women we have to approach, well, we tend to approach things a little differently than men, and I think that even, many of you remember Linda Flores. She represented Linda Flores. She was described as, and I would like to emulate her, in that she was a rare combination of grace and grit. And I think that's kind of what it takes now to a certain amount of compassion and charm, but also be able to maintain some determination and commitment. And I'm sure Abigail Duniway had that rare combination of grace and grit. And we should take time today to thank Abigail and all the other great women leaders in Oregon's political history who have helped blaze a path for those of us who are involved today, whether it's through serving in office, being active at the grassroots level, owning a small business, or just taking the time to fill out a ballot. Thank you.